Welcome to this episode of Beorn's Tent. Today I thought it would be fun to get kind of crafty and talk about making a small pouch for carrying things. I'm using this piece of leather for the pouch because it's very thin, so it should be pretty easy to work with, but it's also pretty thick and durable, and of course, it being leather, there's no weave in it, so you don't really have to hem it. You don't have to do so much sewing to it, because it can't fray on you. And it's a good size so that I don't have to cut it or anything. All you have to do is just fold it. And I have this. Using this again. Because it's tough to use a sewing needle with this. I tried it, and it was really hard to get it through, and my fingers kept slipping on the needle, and yeah. So I'm just gonna give this a try. Now when it comes to punching the holes, especially when you're trying to work up the sides here, you want the holes to be even. So before you start punching the holes, find something to hold the piece of cloth or leather together. There we go. You see, it's pretty tough to slide this on, but that also means that it'll be tough to slide it off, so it won't come off accidentally when I'm punching the holes into the leather. Now, on to the fun stuff. You can get these at pretty much any fabric store. The kind of stuff that sells cloth, buttons, zippers, all that kind of stuff. These are pretty easy to get. They're not that expensive. Okay, so I'm gonna put one hole, or two holes so to say, since it's folded, right over here near the corner. If you're using a puncher like this, it's a good idea to punch the holes that you know you're gonna use for the drawstring first, because the holes for the drawstring can be pretty much any size, but when it comes to the ones for the sides, you want them to be relatively small. So it's a good idea to test it first on the part that's going to be the top. Okay, and here's how it came out on the other side. So that's okay. That's fine. So now I'm going to put another one. I'm going to try and go straight down the piece here and go about here. There we go. Okay, so right now, the whole thing has 4 holes in it. I think I'm just gonna put in a couple more on like either side of the paper clip. So here's another good reason to have something to hold it together this way, because then you can sort of see where to punch the holes. Okay, and one more. Now there are obviously going to be a lot more holes on the side than there are going to be in the top, because that's what you use to weave in some string and tie it together. And so it's got to go all the way up, or at least in most cases. If you want to have this end opened up as like your own crafting style or whatever, you can, but it's usually smarter to have the whole thing closed. But I'll just go up to here and see where it goes. So start down here, and you want these to be even closer to the edge than the ones for the drawstring, because this is what's going to be a type of hem for holding the pouch together. sort of rule that I came up with for hand sewing is that whatever thread you're using should be at least twice the length of the piece that you're sewing. So for example, I'm trying to do one side of the pouch, and so the piece of string that I'm going to use, since like I said before, the needle and thread the leather is just too thick for it. I'm using this nylon cord. This is the thinnest size I've got, so it's the closest I've got to a thread here. And it being nylon, just like this necklace, it's super strong. And I think this length should be good. So I need to, I'll probably just add a little more, because I have to be able to tie it too. It's like once you start it, you have to tie it tight, and then keep going. Now for the other side. Tough to turn inside out. If I ever decide to do this again, I'm just gonna use fleece. But actually, see how this goes. Okay, I've almost got it. There we go. Looks nice, doesn't it? Okay, now there's the holes in the top. Now those are for the drawstring, and the drawstring is obviously bigger. For those of you who saw my video on making a sling, you'll know that when it comes to the holes that I punch, I like to sort of make a little drill and make them bigger. So we can use stuff like a pencil or a paintbrush to sort of widen the hole and make it easier to slide the string in. Oh, and with the nylon cord, before I forget to mention that, because I think I did already, the way to keep the ends from unraveling is to hold it up to a little fire to melt it. So if you're a kid doing this, you know, have adult supervision, or just be careful. Because if you're not careful, you will get burned. You don't have to tie it or anything like with the sides, just weave it in and out. In and out. And so on and so forth until you get the whole thing. If you're worried about it coming loose, then there's something that you can do to try and keep it shut. we can take another piece, relatively short, and tie it around the drawstring. Get that nice and tight. And since it's tight, it won't move too easy, but it's still adjustable. So you can move it up and down the drawstring to try and keep the pouch closed. And you may want to leave some of the cord left over instead of cutting it all off, so that way it'll be easier to move it around when you need to open the pouch back up again. I hope you found this episode interesting. We've learned a little something about making a pouch, and I will see you later. Probably.